Hello, everyone. This is bonus material. We'll call it episode or video 3.5 for our EdTech trainings course. And I'm just going to show some very easy and brief shortcuts inside of Google Drive. So shortcuts are either keyboard based, where if you type in certain things, certain letters and symbols, Google Drive will do certain things, or they can just be easily navigated options that Google Drive offers. Now, the first set that I'm going to tell you about is how can you create Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Sheets very quickly. Now, normally the way that we would do it is inside of Google Drive. On the left-hand side, we would hit the plus sign, and then we would click whichever one that we want and hit blank document. Another way that most people do it is they just Google search Google Docs. They put it in their search, Google Docs, Google Slides, and then they get to it that way. Some people get to it with the Google Apps waffle bar in the right-hand corner, and they click on that. But there is an easier way. No matter what website you're on, like let's just say I'm on our bonus podcast episode website here, and I wanted to go and create a Google Doc very quickly. All I would have to do at the URL up at the top is type in docs.new and then hit enter. And it automatically creates a new document for me very quickly. Now, I could do the same thing with slides, and remember, you always want to title your documents as well, but I could do the same thing with slides. All I have to do is put slides.new and hit enter, and now it's going to automatically start creating a new slideshow for me. So this does save some time from having to go into Google Drive or having to Google search slides or docs and then go into the program that way. So again, you could do that with any Google program. You can do it with forms, you could do it with slides, you could do it with docs, anything that's Google based. So let's try forms.new. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and it's creating a new form for me. So any of these G Suite tools that we've discussed and that we will continue to discuss, you can create easily and quickly just by typing in the name, a period, and then the word new, N-E-W. Now, the next set of shortcuts that I'm going to tell you about are actual keyboard shortcuts within Google Drive. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go through some. So some of my favorites, and again, keyboard shortcuts, if you want to see a whole list, in the upper right-hand corner, if you click on the gear icon, you'll bring up settings, but down below you can see keyboard shortcuts, and if you click on that, you have a lot here. And it is impossible to memorize all of these and kind of know what you're doing with that, but if you want to, more power to you. But I'm going to share some that I typically will use. One of them is just when something highlighted in Google Drive. As you can see here, I will highlight 06 Math 1. If I hit the letter N on my keyboard while this is highlighted, it will prompt me to rename that folder. So I'm going to hit N. Notice I can rename. Makes sense. N, name, right? So you can do that with files as well. You could do it with anything. You just click and highlight, or if you have your arrow keys working and you're going up and down, anything that it's on and highlighted, you hit N, you can begin to rename. So this does save a little bit of time as well, because previously what you would have had to do is right click and then search for where it says rename, or you would have had to go into the options in the settings. Now, another keyboard shortcut that I really like that helps is not even a letter this time. It's just the period. So what the period does, it allows you to share a folder or a file with people. So if I have 6th grade math advanced folder highlighted, if I hit the period, it's going to bring up the sharing options immediately, which is very helpful because, again, if I have a lot of folders and I'm going through, it will take up some time for me to click and highlight, then go up to the people icon to hit share, and then have it go that way, or to right click. It is a shortcut. It's not like it's saving you a lot of time, but over the course of an entire school year, who knows how much time you could actually be saving. Now, another set of keyboard shortcuts includes creating new items. And I already kind of gave you this before when I said at the URL you could just type in docs.new or slides.new or forms.new, so on and so forth. But there's another way to do it too, so I might as well share it with you. It's very quick. And it involves when you're in Google Drive, you hold down the Shift key and you press a corresponding letter that corresponds with the program. So for Docs, it wouldn't actually be Shift D because D is for drawing. But if I did Shift D, you'll see that it's going to open up a new drawing for me. So I'm going to hold down Shift and hit D, and it's opening up a drawing for me. But in order to do a Google Doc, if I hold down Shift and I press T, it's going to open up a Google Doc for me. If I wanted a presentation, I could do Shift P and it'll open up a presentation for me. You could do new folders this way as well. If I hold down Shift and hit F for folder, it will already start prompting me to create a new folder. Now, there are some additional ones as well. Again, if you go to the gear icon and click on keyboard shortcuts, you can find all of these. If you Google search keyboard shortcuts for Google Drive, you'll find some more too, and it'll be laid out for you in a chart if you prefer it that way. The last tip I'm going to give you isn't so much a shortcut. It's technically part of Google Drive's organization system, but it's something that a lot of people don't use. And if you look on the left-hand side, we've talked a lot about these so far in previous episodes. So we've already talked about priority workspaces and setting up a topic, and you can put all of the files for that workspace in there so it's easier to find. We talked about how My Drive is like your opened hub where you see quick access files, which are the ones that you most recently accessed, and all of your folders. Shared drives are as if you created some teams or groups and you have that there. Shared with me or any files that are shared directly with you. Recent is self-explanatory, but then you have this starred icon and it says starred. Now these are files or folders that you have explicitly starred. Now how do you do that? Well, if I go back into my Google Drive here and I'm going to change the alphabetical order, so AP Lich on top, you can see that there's a little star icon there, which does stand out from every other one because it's the only folder I have starred. Now how did I do that? Well, if you have it highlighted, there's a couple ways. You can right click on it and then it'll bring up all these different options, and then you can hit the add to starred menu. So I'm going to go ahead and click add to starred, and now you will see that it is starred. So it does add another visual component to allow you to see your folders better. And then if I go into my starred on the left hand side column, you will now see that that folder is right in there. So it does allow me to kind of separate things more. Now notice it did not take it out of my drive. It's not like I'm moving stuff around. It will always be in my drive still, but it's also in my starred. It kind of gives another shortcut within this just to help us organize our files more. Now the cool thing about this is if you're in an individual file, like let's say you're in this Google Doc that we created here. I have this Google Doc. Obviously you always want to give it a name, so I'm just going to give it name fake. Now, up at the top, you're going to see some options to the right of that title. You see fake, and then to the right, you actually see a star, and you also see a move, which we've discussed before, and to check the document status. But this star button, if I click on that, it's going to fill it out and highlight it to where now I know that I've starred this document and that it's important to me, and it also tells Google Drive that it's important to me. So if I go back into my Google Drive and I'm in starred already, you will see that my fake Google Doc is right there. Right? So it's very helpful. Same thing with Google Slides. Notice if I go in and I were to change this to a fake presentation, and it creates and saves it for me, you now see to the right there is now an option to star that document. And if I star it, it's highlighted now. If I go back into my drive and on the left hand side click on starred, you will now see that my fake presentation is there as well. So you can do that on the fly whenever you want. If you're working on stuff, you can star it. Again, make sure you don't star too many things without organizing over here, because if you star too many things, nothing's really starred. So that's a bunch of shortcuts and easy ways to organize your Google Drive even more, so that way you can be more efficient and get things done.